बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवनधारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवनधारी यशोदा नंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदा नंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कृष्ण बिहारी जय राधा माधव कृष्ण बिहारी Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pravigadrajacharya Shota Shota Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is Ki Jai
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from chapter 7, text 1, Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Mai Asakta Manaha Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashayah Asangsayam Samagram Mam Yatha Nyajasi Tach Shrinu Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Asakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjamadashayah Asankshayam Samagram Mam Yathagnyajasi Tachinu Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashayah Asangsayam Samagram Mam Yathagnyajasi Tachinu Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashayah Asangsayam Samagram Mam Yathagnyajasi Tachinu. Please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Maya Saktamanav Partha
Maya Saktamana Partha
Yogam Yunjanmadashraya
Yogam Yunjanmadashraya
Asamshayam Samagram Mam
Samshayam Samagramam
Mitanya Sasitat Shrinu
Tachinu.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Maya Saktamana Partha
Saktamana Partha.
Yogam Yunjanmar Ashraya Asamshayam Samagramam
Samsayam Samagramam.
Yata Jnanasya Sitach Shrunu
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri
Bhagavan Vacha.
Maya Saktamana Partha
Maya Saktamana Partha
Yogam Yunjanmadashraya
Yogam Yunjanmadashraya.
Asamshayam Samagramam
Samagramam.
Yathatnyasya Sitachinu
Okay. Mataji's, would you like to try?
Shri
Bhagavan Vacha.
Maya
Shaktamana Partha.
Yogam Yunjanmadashraya
Okay. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Lord said, Mai, to me, asakta manaha, mind attached, partha osanapratha, yogam, self-realization, yunjan, practicing, madashraya, in consciousness of me, Krishna consciousness, asangshayam, without doubt, samagram, completely, mam, me, yatha, how, jnajasi, you can know, that, shrinu, try to hear. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how He manifests such opulence is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been directly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti or localized Paramatma realizes not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubt. Different types of yogas are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmajyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness, yoga, one can know everything in full. Namely, the absolute truth, the living entity is the mature nature and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of 6th chapter. Concentration of mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tatshinu, or hear from me. No one can be greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him one can receive the greatest opportunity to become a perfect Krishna conscious person, one who is therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the second chapter of the first canto as follows. Shrinvatam swakatha Krishna punya shavana kirtanam hridayantasthe badhrani vidunoti sahutsatam nashtaprayeshu abadhreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki tada rajastamo bhava kamalova dayaschaya chetete navidham stitam satte prasiddhati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti योगतः भगवत तत्व विज्ञान मुक्त संग से जायते विद्यते हृदये ग्रंथिस चिद्यन्ते सर्व संशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दुष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge as he hears more about Krishna from Bhagavatam and from devotees. He becomes fixed in devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in the position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severes the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come to the stage of asankshayam samagram, understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth Personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunamitamena Tasmai Shigrive Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manurvishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyatapatakabalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagarchatam Sagar Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sijivam Sadvaitam Savaditam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Laita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Shahe Krishna Karunan Sindhu Dinavanda Jagatade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpadrivasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patyatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Budale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swami Nitinamane Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Budale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jnananandam Devam Nirmashpatikakritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana Hoy Vigna Vinashana Nayase Hoy Nijavanchita Puranam. So here, Srila Prabhupada strongly speaking in this purport of this beginning of the 7th chapter, knowledge of the Absolute, the Siddhanta, the complete perfection of this knowledge, the absolute Siddhanta, absolute knowledge, and Bhakti Siddhanta. This is not just knowledge of anything, but this is knowledge of Bhakti, which is perfect. It is knowledge of Bhakti. It is incomplete knowledge of Bhakti. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions many things in this purport, mainly making the point of that one should hear. And this being the most important aspect of our devotional service, which he calls Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, saying that Shravanam, it all begins with Shravan, begins with hearing, because without hearing we cannot understand. There's no question of us even thinking about Krishna without hearing. Even the name Krishna, it has to be heard from the pure lips of the pure devotee. Or from us, from someone who is coming in the proper line of devotional culture. So, being Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance, right? Or appearance, this, I'm getting confused.
His appearance day was earlier this year.
Yeah, so his disappearance day on Thursday. So no, his appearance day, I was right, okay. His appearance day on Thursday. This verse is very suitable. I mean, he appeared in 1874 at 3:30 p.m. And this personality, he is greatly known throughout India, specifically as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as a great preacher of the movement of Lord Chaitanya, as someone who brought and established the culture of bhakti in its proper stance, because before all of this it was become degraded to a great extent. So the culture of bhakti and the knowledge of bhakti has to be known, because bhakti without siddhanta is not bhakti. Actually, my spiritual master describes in the spiritual world, bhakti exists without siddhanta, and that is perfection. But bhakti that which exists without siddhanta in this world is just contamination, is sahaja, is prakrita sahaja. It has no basis. Well, how do we understand that? We understand that from Rupa Goswami, Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatrika Vidin Vina Aikantika Harer Bhaktir Utpatpyaiva Kalpate. That devotional service which is not according to Shruti Smriti and Purana Adi, the scriptures, it is simply a disturbance in society. So Rupa Goswami revealing that, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur exemplifying that, and then Srila Prabhupada following that example that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has set, in that one should simply hear and follow the absolute truth that is being laid out. And that is where it all begins. Therefore Krishna says, Tat Shunu. And Prabhupada emphasizes that point the most here, that one should just simply hear. He should hear from the spiritual master. He should hear from the representative of Krishna. Because by hearing proper siddhanta, by hearing knowledge that is actually established in Shruti Smriti Purana Adi by the Acharyas, by Rupa Goswami, specifically in our line, Rupa Goswami, by having proper knowledge, one can come to the point of what Prabhupada says here, of full consciousness of Krishna. One can know me in full. But without siddhanta, one cannot know Krishna in full. Therefore he is saying here, now here, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Because what does siddhanta do? It removes doubt. Truth removes, light removes darkness. Truth removes doubt. Siddhanta, that which is perfect knowledge, removes the doubts that are within our heart that are dragging us back into this material world. So it requires the disciple to hear properly. This is, point that we emphasize over and over and over again, and can never be underemphasized. Why? Because it is the beginning and end of bhakti. Hearing and chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, those two things. Because within those two things, everything is captured. Everything is captured. Because the Chaitanya Charitamrita makes the point that one should, there's many different statements within the realm of, when we look at Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes we hear, hearing is the most important, and then sometimes we hear that, Sadhu Sangha is the most important. Those two things are the most prominent when you read. Sadhu Sangha, hearing. But they're the same. There is no hearing without Sadhu Sangha. And so it's very important, or hearing means Sadhu Sangha. Because you should not hear from others, because Prabhupada often mentions this verse, that if one hears from that person who is not Krishna conscious, it's like milk that has been tasted by the lips of a serpent. It is poison. So hearing means sadhu sangha, and sadhu sangha means hearing. And often we'll see in every, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur being very much prominent in this regard, that there would not be any function without hearing. There would never just be kirtan. There will always be, of course, this is also kirtan, but kirtan in the sense of just more the musical sense. It would be always shravan, hearing. The disciples would hear from the spiritual master. He would make that a very important point, so much so that he would give lectures for 3 hours straight, 3-4 hours. So this principle of hearing is emphasized again and again throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says this here in the 7th chapter. He begins it. He says, okay, Arjuna actually inquires from him, saying, now I'm a soul surrender unto you. You instruct me. So he's ready to hear. And then in chapter 7, he's saying, now hear from me. Listen carefully. Tat shunu. Try to hear. And then in the 12th chapter, he says, hear again, O Arjuna. Listen in. In the 9th chapter, he makes this point again to Arjuna, that I'm revealing to you the topmost of all knowledge. So again and again, Krishna makes the point, hear. One should constantly hear. This is the process of devotional service, constant hearing, and Srila Prabhupada quotes that. Shrinvatam swakatha Krishna punya shavana kirtana hirdayantasto abidrani vidunoti shutsatam nashta prayeshu abidreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. This one specifically, nashta prayeshu abidreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. So that it destroys all of these different impurities that are there in the heart. By Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, the Nityam Bhagavat, by eternal hearing from the Bhagavatam, and also from the Bhagavata, from the book Bhagavatam and also from the Bhagavata, from the pure devotee of the Lord. To hear from the pure devotee of the Lord, it gives one great pleasure within the heart, as we always quote, Satam Prasanga Mama Virya Samvidyo, Bhavantir Hit Rasayana Kataha, to always hear the pastimes of the Lord. And it is very satisfying to the heart. It gives one great pleasure to hear such a thing. But before all of that, what is required? What is required is tada rajastamom bhava kamalobadaschaye chetaretayana viddam stitam satya prasiddhati. Prabhupada, he gives sometimes slight different translations throughout his books, saying that one cannot actually hear properly until he comes out of the mode of passion and ignorance. But how does one get out of the mode of passion and ignorance? By hearing. By constantly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Well, it is not a separate endeavor. So to hear properly, we have to just hear first. That's why just try to listen. Just try to listen. So it may invoke upon you some realization. By how? By contemplation. One hears. If his intelligence, he sees how to apply that in one's life, or how that applies in one's life, or how that applies in the world in general. And with that contemplation, because he has heard it from the spiritual master, a direct realization comes about of those words that are emanating from the spiritual master. Divya Gyan Hirday Prokashito, that he is giving knowledge within the heart. The spiritual master pierces through the modes of passion and ignorance, enters through the ears into the heart of the disciple, and destroys with the lamp of shining knowledge that which is causing the individual living entity so much suffering within this world, all this illusion. He destroys that illusion with his sword of knowledge. Therefore, one should hear from a sadhu. There is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I can't forget it. I can't remember it. It's by Lord Shiva in the... Which chapter? This is, I think, with the prayers of the Prachetas. He mentions that one should associate with a sadhu, or maybe this is another verse, because they are like, when they speak, they are sharp, like they cut our misconceptions, they cut our desires, they cut our different ideas of what this world is. So hearing means from a sadhu, sadhu is very strong. As when you hear about the personality of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, very towering, all of us, is very towering personality. So you look at him, and it's very intense meditation, very intense concentration, just a ball of intensity. I can't imagine just being there and hearing from him how, oh, wow, this person is really just cutting through everyone. But it's described in Shastra that that is the duty of the sadhu, but although he's very heavy guru, his heart is that softer than a rose. His words he can be harder than a thunderbolt, but he's also softer than a rose. Because why? Because he carries Siddhanta as the sword, and he carries bhakti within his heart. They go together. They're not separate from each other. So the spiritual master cuts through the disciples' misconceptions and the different coverings of the soul, and he establishes Divya Gyan Hirday Prakasita. Prema Bhakti Yaha Ite. What am I forgetting? Prema Bhakti Yaha Ite Avidya Vinashajati. That he establishes bhakti, pure bhakti in the heart of the disciple, but one has to be ready. One has to be ready for that. One has to be receptive for that. This is Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Kare Udai. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the heart of the living entity. There is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. So, when it is purified by hearing and chanting, so one has to become properly situated in devotional life. He has to approach the Supreme Personality Godhead in this manner. Tadvidi pranipadena pariparshane sevaya upadikshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. That he must approach the spiritual master in a submissive attitude with the desire to hear from him, not a desire to take from him. What should he take from him? He should take the instructions from him. One does not approach a sadhu for some material benefit. That is, he's uselessly wasting his life. To approach the sadhu for just some money, or to approach him for some gain, is what a waste of one's life. But when one can hear, when one realizes who the sadhu is, what the sadhu has to give, and he hears from him, what does he receive? He receives that which is not even imaginable within the three worlds. Cannot even be imagined. The wealth which he can put together in all the three worlds, he can put it all together, accumulated. Everything, all the gold, all the silver, all the diamonds, everything, he can put it all together. And it doesn't even compare to a smidge to what the sadhu holds in his words. Because what does he hold? He holds Krishna. The sadhu, he has captured Krishna. He holds Krishna. Krishna is his. This is Narottam Das Thakur praise. And Krishna is yours. Only you can give it to him, give him to me. Therefore I am running after you, behind you. I'm running. Sorry, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Is Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Oh, Vaishnava. Okay, yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, sorry. Therefore that I'm running behind you. I can't remember the Bengali. Okay. So, sorry. What was that you said? Yeah, Krishna said, Tomara Krishna dite paro, Tomara shakati ache, Amita Kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, Dahitava pache pache. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying like that. That Krishna is yours, you have the power to give him to me. I'm simply your servant running behind you shouting Krishna Krishna. So his word, the sadhu's words, he has Krishna. If we are receptive, he can give that to us. But if we are contaminated with material desire, then even though he's giving freely, the sadhu gives freely, there's not that the sadhu holds Krishna back within he says only few can get it. No, the sadhu freely distributes, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed like that. You freely distribute this knowledge to anyone and everyone. Nobody is unqualified. Whatever military background we come from, whatever sinful activities we've done, nobody is unqualified. But one has to be receptive to hear the holy name. sadhu can give that to the living entity. The sadhu can grant that. He can infuse the living entity with his, again, reignite his, reawaken his natural love for Krishna. It can be done not over a lifetime, but it can be done instantly if we are receptive, as Srila Prabhupada would say. You are not reading Bhagavad Gita. In one moment you can become fully Krishna conscious. One moment, it doesn't require so many years. But there's so much dirt within their heart. There's so much dirt. But the only solution is this solution. The only solution is the hearing of the pastimes of the Lord, hearing and speaking about the pastimes of the Lord. As in the 4th canto, Shukadeva Goswami says to Maharaj Parikshit, my dear king, one should stay at a place where the great acharyas, holy teachers, speak about the transcendental activities of the Lord, and one should give oral reception to the nectarian river flowing from the moon-like faces of such great personalities. If someone eagerly continues to hear such transcendental sounds, then certainly he will become freed from all material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation, as well as all illusion of material existence. So one should hear, one should stay in that place. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I shall not stay anywhere or go anywhere where the process of devotional service is not being performed. Even Narottam Das Thakur goes to the extent of saying, I do not consider the holy places so great. I consider the words and the lotus feet of the sadhu are much, much, much greater. They are much greater. There's this one song that he sings like that. That is the only desire that I have. And if I'm not able to get that, I shall simply just smash my head against a rock. That's all. So the sadhaka, the practitioner of devotional service, his only desire is actually to situate his life in such a way that he lives around devotees of the Lord. That is his only mission in his life. That he simply lives with the devotees of the Lord, or he is in very close association, is very much wanting and eager to hear from sadhus, to remain in their association. As Shukadeva Goswami is saying here, that one should give oral reception to the nectarian river flowing from the moon-like faces of great personalities. If someone eagerly continues to hear, then he will become freed from all material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation. Just as, he's saying this, while Shukadeva Goswami is saying this to Maharaj Parikshit, he is the sadhu who is moon-like faced and giving that. And Maharaj Parikshit is the primary example of someone who will become free from material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation. Of course, Maharaj Parikshit is a pure devotee. But the point being made that he fasted for 7 days, no water, no food, just hearing from Shukadeva Goswami, because he was absorbed. He was absorbed in hearing this nectarian flow that is coming from Shukadeva Goswami. This pulp, this very nectarian flow of this ecstatic pastimes of the Lord. So many verses are there from the Bhagavatam and the different scriptures, and including Rupa Goswami says so many things in this regard. Therefore, one of the main principles that Rupa Goswami emphasizes is, or the main actually duty of a Krishna conscious person, is that he is surrendered to the Guru. That is the first thing. Why? Because he has to hear from the Guru. He has to hear and take the instructions from the Guru. So by doing so, one comes out of the modes of passion and ignorance. He no longer hankers or laments. He is no longer situated in a platform in where he, trying to perform devotional service, has so many other motives in his life. Just like we see that within devotional communities, devotees don't know why they're not making advancement, because we're not hearing. Even if we're hearing, we're only hearing those things we want to hear. We don't want to hear that we shouldn't eat karmi grains, we shouldn't watch movies, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't associate with the Vishayis, the sense enjoyers. We don't want to hear such things. We want to have a comfortable life. We want to put material life and spiritual life together. We want both. We want the best of both worlds. But Prabhupada often says both is a disaster to do such thing. They do not go well together. Material enjoyment and spiritual life, they do not go well together. One makes no progress, practically no progress. So one has to hear from the proper bona fide spiritual master in what is absolute knowledge, how one should strictly follow the platform of pure devotional service. There's nothing else to be done, and that has to be engraved in our mind, that there's nothing more than the devotional service to Krishna. And those who are doing that, they are the greatest living entities possible in this entire creation. And that one should simply serve them. That is the ultimate understanding that we should come to. And we should not have any other thing within our heart. That yes, they're saying like this, but they don't understand. No, they do understand. They've gone through it. They should be greatly given proper respect. And we should desire to serve them. Otherwise, we've lost the understanding of devotional service. So one has to hear the proper siddhanta from the proper spiritual master. Otherwise, if that natural love for Krishna is not arising, or enthusiasm is not arising for devotional service, then we should question who we're hearing from. We should, of course, question ourselves first, whether actually one is sincere. But if we should question if a spiritual master is speaking and how he can go on eating karmic grains and perform devotional service, you should be a little worried, because Srila Prabhupada is completely, the whole Vaishnava Sampradaya is completely against that. If someone preaches that it's okay to go on having illicit sex while performing devotional service, we should be worried about that. It is against the conclusions of our acharyas, it is against the conclusion of Shastra, then we should immediately reject such persons. One should not be weak-hearted. One should have proper discrimination by study of scripture, not under one's own whim and feelings, but under proper study and understanding of scripture. He should hear with Shastra in the center. That's an important point. The Shastra comes first and the Guru comes later. When one has to understand what is Shastra. Without that, one cannot understand what is Guru. So one has to study and hear. One has to study and hear. One has to know that what the spiritual master is speaking is according to the line of the Sampradaya. Because now we see so much nonsense, bogus nonsense going on. So many bogus things are being said, to a point where when you speak the truth, you're considered bogus. So people even the devotees within the Krishna consciousness movement are not hearing. Because they are continuing to eat karmic grains. They're continuing to watch karmi movies. They're continuing to do so many things that are non-different from what a karmi is. So what is the hearing? What is the quality of our hearing? If we hear and we understand, then we apply. Otherwise, then we're just hypocrites. People look at us and they, just like recently, one of our devotees was at a convention. And she asked, what do you guys think about these kirtan melas? And as straightforward as we are, we say, yeah, they're bogus as hell. They're bogus to the core. That's just so-called kirtan. We know what happens in those kirtan melas. There's men and women mixing. Sannyasis and young, beautiful women mixing. In the kirtan, in the temple room. And then we found out recently what happens after they leave the temple room. But she's not a devotee, this person. She's actually a famous actress. They met a famous actress and she asked, what do you guys think about this kirtan mela? And they said, yeah, this is bogus. One of our devotees said like that to her. He said, wow, I'm so happy that you said that, because they don't understand the philosophy. Because they don't read the books. She said that. She's not, she's not even. Because there's no shravan going on. You go to this kirtan mela, what shravan is there? There's nothing. Just enjoy. Just enjoy the kirtan. Offer the deity with flower, offer the flower to the deity and then throw it on each other and step all over it. It's like you see this and it's like, oh my God, how much aparad is being committed. You're breaking all committing offenses to the holy name at every step. So they're not hearing properly and others are not giving proper kirtan to hear. Then it's just, what is the dupes, the society of dupes?
Mutual Admiration Society of Dupes.
Mutual Admiration Society of Dupes. This is glorify each other and everyone's good, you're good, I'm good. As long as you don't criticize me and I don't criticize you, you go on however much nonsense you want to do and I'll go on with however much nonsense I want to do. So when there is not a proper sadhu who does not deviate at any point on the principles of Shastra, he is honest, as the Bhagavatam describes, those men who are thoroughly honest. Then the society goes to hell when there's not such persons available. Because people become weak-hearted, they let their desires carry them. So the sadhu has to be present, a proper sadhu, and they're not of many. Sadhu means, of high caliber, so it's very, the purity is scarce, is that the right word? Is very available in small quantities almost. It's not that the, pure sadhu is there, but not every person, you cannot, as the neophytes tend to do, everybody is a pure devotee. They put everyone on the pure platform. That is a symptom of a neophyte, that he cannot discriminate who is a pure devotee or not. But they don't want to accept a pure devotee as well because they're cutting. They cut. So then it just becomes this admiration society of dupes, mutual admiration society of dupes. And when the sadhu speaks strongly, then they kick the sadhu out. And then they all go to hell together. So this hearing is not being done. Therefore, even those people who approach the Krishna conscious society, as Srila Prabhupada is stating here, the 4 types of people. Those who are in distress, those who are in want of knowledge, those who desire liberation, and those who want some economic situation. Yeah. Even they, when they approach the Krishna consciousness movement, it's like, what is this? Because you see it and it's like, there's nothing there. Who was it? That was somebody was telling me that somebody came to the LA temple long time ago and asked, what should we follow? Should we follow what the books say or what you're saying? It's a little, if somebody asks us that we should really look at ourselves and go, we've failed ourselves. Because we follow what the books say. There's no difference between what the books say and what we do in our lives. We follow Srila Prabhupada, we follow Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we follow Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we follow the great acharyas all the way back to Krishna, and it's just like a lens, it's a clear lens. You see, it's everything is clear. We're speaking Krishna's instructions directly. So if there's some confusion, or if there's seemingly or overall mission drift, and we think we're still Krishna conscious, and people cannot relate between what's in our books and what we're doing in our lives, then we should have a lot of concern for the society, which there is now. We read the books and we look at the society and we go, wait, but this is what the books say, why is this different? And then, anyways, nobody studies the books nowadays, so nobody knows what to follow and what not to follow. Nobody reads the books. Examine the devotees even who are initiated. How much have you read? Barely the Bhagavad Gita, most likely. So it requires great hearing in order to establish the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to establish and push forward the Krishna consciousness movement. And Srila Prabhupada often said, this Krishna consciousness movement will be destroyed from the inside. The only destruction that can take place is from the inside. Why? Because this philosophy is sound. Nobody can touch it. If it is preached properly and understood properly, nobody can touch it. Prabhupada writes like that in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the introduction, he says, if one studies this, one can destroy any atheism. He can destroy atheism, no problem, and establish this as a proper fact. One can establish Krishna consciousness as a fact. If one studies the Srimad Bhagavatam properly. That means hearing. That means reading. That means this reading is an extension of hearing. So if one hears, that means he can preach properly. When one hears properly, one can preach properly. When one hears from a sadhu properly, he himself becomes a sadhu, because that is the process of Krishna consciousness. That is what the Srimad Bhagavatam is describing. And so we want to become sadhus. We want to become purified men who are thoroughly honest. Why? For the benefit of others, for the benefit of ourselves, for the benefit of a society at large. That is what a sadhu does. That is what the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement is to only benefit others. As this hearing few lectures, Nityananda, what is his desire? Just to give pleasure. He is by reconnecting them with Krishna, he's eternally happy. But nobody likes Nityananda. There's the lecture, and people do not like Nityananda. They want their material pleasure. They're so attached to their stool. So we should hear from the proper spiritual master. We should hear from Srila Prabhupada, and in the proper disciplic line, who are preaching the pure bhakti. There is no need to be shy. This center has become a small, a little light in the darkness that is going on. That message of what Srila Prabhupada gave should not be preached. That we have to somehow invent some other method by preaching, by yoga or bhoga or whatever it may be. And we have to compromise, but we do not. We see that there are so many strong men and women that are ready and willing to take up Krishna consciousness when the pure thing is given. There is a verse that actually Rupa Goswami quotes, that a spiritual master should not desire, I have that right here, just some disciples for the sake of discipleship. He should only take upon disciples who are very serious. Where is it here? Oh my, let me see. I have it saved. If I can bring it up, if not. Okay, I don't have it. But a verse comes like that. So we do not desire just mass populace who are just wishy-washy here and there. They want to just fulfill their material desires and want a little peace by chanting Hare Krishna. No, we want those people who are fully dedicated to serving the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's what Prabhupada wants. And that's what you see throughout his books. Everything is emphasized. Krishna. Surrender to Krishna. Every book, every page, every word is only directed towards that, nothing else. So when we take it and we twist it and say, oh, Prabhupada is actually saying like this, it is offensive. Prabhupada is saying like this, but it's actually just like meditation upon the impersonal thing, and you can do that too, and you can do this too. Prabhupada makes it very clear, no, this is all lower things. Don't do this. Concentrate your mind on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the form of Krishna. So, by hearing, one can establish the absolute truth within his heart. And what happens? You can know Krishna in full. As Prabhupada would say, you can see Krishna face to face. You can see him face to face. Krishna is saying that in the Bhagavad Gita right here. Osana Prata, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. You can know Krishna in full. Krishna is present in his names. He's right there. You can see him face to face. You can know him in full. So we should desire to understand this Siddhanta, this Bhakti Siddhanta, this pure message of the personality of Godhead, by which we'll be able to awaken awaken this dormant love that is already there. It is not something as Chaitanya Charitamrita is saying, not something to be gained from anywhere else. It's just there already. But there's so much nonsense that is there in the heart that has to be cut through. And that is primarily done through this, Tat Shrinu, try to hear. I know there's so many troubles in the mind, yes, so much trouble every day. It's just like you want to just listen to your spiritual master, but so many other thoughts come in your mind, so many other desires come. So Krishna later says in the 18th chapter that the austerities of the mind, do you know what, anybody know? No? Okay, here we go. 17. Austerities of the body, austerities of speech. Okay, yeah. Satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. Self-control. So we have to take that austerity. It is austere. It's not all like in the beginning, at least where I'm at. It's not like to hear. It's like just really bringing your mind. It's like, okay, you want to go here, just wait, just stop and just listen. You have to really beat it with shoes and sticks, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say. You have to beat the mind. It's one's eternal enemy, as the Bhagavatam makes the point again and again. What learned man would put his faith in the mind? It constantly deceives one. What learned man would put faith in this thing? It's constantly deceiving us, all the time. It's constantly saying to us, this is pleasure, when it's a fact that it's suffering. It's a fact. We've had so much experience. We call it practical experience. Practical experience, you see it, it's clear this is suffering, oh my God. But the mind is able to imagine pleasure within that and convince us wrongly. So we have to tolerate the mind and just bring it and just hear the holy name, hear the spiritual master's instructions. It's really difficult to do. But it has to be done. Because when we start to do that, we bring it on. The Bhagavatam says one brings it under control. This is a verse that comes in, I was reading from this the day before, 4:25-26. 3:25-26. So, thus consciously engaged in devotional service in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next. By constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord, this process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind. So you'll be able to control the mind by just thinking and hearing and contemplating upon the instructions of the spiritual master, the instructions of the sadhus, the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. There's so much. It's just like, sometimes you look into it, sometimes you feel like, our materialistic visions, like, oh, today I'm done. I did enough. But there's like all the works, the songs of the acharyas, the books that Rupa Goswami, just even, all the books of Srila Prabhupada, how deeply one can go within that. And then there's so many other books by our great acharyas. It's just like unlimited amount of knowledge that is available for us to just dive into and completely take advantage of. That is the mercy of the acharyas. We're generally pretty, we have that, our materialistic tendency is, okay, I did enough. I don't think I can do any more. There's not much more to do. I've done everything that I needed to do. Now I can go on with my nonsense. As sometimes Prabhupada would joke, I chanted my 16 rounds, now I can do whatever the hell I want. Prabhupada would joke like that. So one should hear properly, because he'll become free from doubt. When you become free from doubt, your life is very, enlivening. It's very enlightening to perform devotional service. It's so ecstatic. It is so ecstatic. Chanting and dancing and distributing literature and chanting the holy names on the street and and speaking Krishna consciousness to others, it really is enlivening. Pranati jar hetu prachar. One who has life, only he can preach. One gives by preaching, by giving this Krishna consciousness, first by hearing properly and then giving this Krishna consciousness. It creates life, and that life allows us to preach more and more and more, so that we can spend gallons and gallons and gallons of blood to make one devotee. So we should hear properly for purification. We should hear properly to become established in this line, become properly established in Bhakti Siddhanta. And so that we can carry the message which is being purely given. And, continue that line of pure devotional service and not let it die out. So this is some of the things that are being mentioned in here. I'll end the class there. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free to ask. Okay, Hare Krishna.
So one correction, that incident didn't happen in LA. Should we follow what you read? What's in the
where was
books?
that?
It was actually Guru Maharaj says in many lectures where he says that one of the people who were running some temple in Bangladesh came up to him and told him that's what someone said, not LA.
Oh, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Prabhu, you're talking about how it's the duty of the sadhu to cut and purify people in that way. I myself, I guess I have an anartha to be like a nice guy, even when it's not appropriate maybe. So I'm just wondering when is like, there was an instance where I was with somebody who's somewhat a devotee, Indian Hindu background, not practicing seriously at all, and I didn't feel he was like sincere enough for me to really like be super heavy with him. So I more so just gave him some practical, gradual. I told him, okay, chant 4 rounds a day, and watch a little less TV at night and wake up earlier. I didn't just because he's not like, I didn't feel he was like super, super sincere.
So it's like important to like distinguish where one is at, and then like that's one of the symptom of a Madhyama Adhikari is he knows how to engage everyone in Krishna consciousness according to where they're at. So like not everyone we're going to go to and be like, you have to do like this, you have to see where they're at and then bring them up, but they have to understand the ideal principle. It's not that they're 4 rounds and watching a little less TV is like Krishna consciousness, right? So it's just important for them to understand what is the ideal principle and where they're at. You establish those 2 things. That is the important duty of the sadhu. That he doesn't make them think, okay, for my 4 rounds and watching a little less TV that's Krishna consciousness. He makes it clear. This is Krishna consciousness. Look, this is where you're at, and okay, this is where you're at, and what can you do about it? Try to come up. This is like people, like sometimes new devotees come in, and it's not like, okay, this is the absolute truth. It's like we help them understand. Okay, chant 2. We say to them, okay, chant 2 rounds every day. Chant 1 round every day. Are we upper sampradaya for telling people to chant 1 round a day? No, because that's where they're at. We're bringing them up. We tell them. We chant about 16 a day, and that's the standard of if you want to become a full, what is recognized within the Krishna consciousness as a devotee. That's the standard. But you begin here. You start here. It's made clear that this is not the beginning and the end for you here. So it doesn't mean we have to be particularly like heavy, because that may not be our position. Also, we have to see. It just means we speak the truth. That's what a sadhu is. He speaks the truth. He doesn't water it down. It's like, okay, for you can chant 2 rounds for the rest of your life. No. It's like, come up. We're pushing them to come up. Yeah, you do this for now, and you increase. You get a taste. Get a taste for the holy name. That's what all of us. I don't. Unless there's like somebody who just walked in and started chanting 16 rounds the next day. I guess he did that. But it's like a lot of us who for like took some time to come up to that standard. So you have something.
And sometimes a sadhu doesn't waste his time either.
Yeah.
For example, Prabhupada, he was in, when he first came to America, I think he was staying with Ravi Shankar, or someone, some like Indian Hindu. And then Prabhupada had his prasadam, and in one compartment of the fridge, and above that there was meat. And Prabhupada didn't waste his time trying to preach to them, because he realized it was pointless, it was hopeless.
Yeah.
So it requires some intelligence also. It's not like a cookie cut principle. And like that's this sentence, someone has received the mercy of the Guru. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Sakala Sahane, Sakala Samana Korite Shakati Deho Nata Jata Jata. Tabeto Gaibo Harinama Suke Aparata Hapehata. He says that, when I will know how to give the appropriate respect for the people I have to give appropriate respect for, then I'll be able to chant the holy name of the Lord offenselessly. So we should see, sometimes, sometimes some people are just, there's literally no point. Like, for example, the guy who was playing Rasta music and doing Aarti to Govardhan Hill outside.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally no point in preaching to him. There's literally no point. And there's not, but we should see how submissive they are. If they're not submissive, then like there's a big chance of them becoming offensive. Same time, even if there's like an iota of sincerity, then we can preach. So, we have to see.
It's like the more sincere they are, the heavier.
No.
I mean,
not proportionate. It's not.
Yeah, it's like it's the sincerity is directly proportional. It's not necessarily like that. It's like.
So heaviness is not like the. You have to understand like that. Just like speaking, like the philosophy doesn't mean to be heavy.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean like you have to be heavy. It just means that you see how they'll understand the best.
Yeah, it's like
that's the main point.
Usually, if people say that they're heavy or strong preachers, people just conceive of Bible bashers.
Yeah.
Just like the ones we would see in New York and Union Square, like you are going to hell, like the big guy smashing the Bible and just condemning everyone. That's not strong speaking or preaching strong. That's not what it is. Yeah. It's just like the message should be clear. Without any ambiguity. That's the point. I have one. You have something? This big maya of making many disciples. Sometimes we see people, they just come, they just see someone, they may be into yoga or something, and then and they may be just a little favorable, and then just after seeing them for 1 or 2 hours, people just get initiated. Just off the bat, you got initiated, I was shocked. Sometimes there's initiated devotees, smoking weed, drinking coffee, eating donuts. I was really shocked. Who the heck initiated you? What's the matter here? What's going on, I mean, seriously, yeah, what's your guru's name? Oh, actually, I forgot my guru's name. It happened to us, actually, right? Who was it? Where's Jonathan? Ali, do you remember? Anyway, we were distributing books just now. We were just distributing books 2 days ago. And then we met someone from South America. And then came out as, I'm an initiated devotee and this and that. And then there was no, you could not in the wildest dreams imagine this person's a devotee. No kantimala, nothing. And then what's your spiritual name? Oh, wait, what's my name? What's my name? No, they brought us up there. And then what's my name? And they kind of forgot their name. And then they remember, what's your guru's name? What is his name? What is my guru's name? They couldn't remember their guru's name. And I started listing people. Oh, yeah, actually, it sounds like him. That might be my guru. This kind of cheap initiation is not going to get you anywhere, And then this whole illusion that this Harinam Diksha and this Harinam initiation, then this Diksha initiation. And Diksha initiation is the real thing. And this kind of insanity. This complete and total, and this kind of stuff just makes a joke out of the entire Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Just makes a big, but that's what Sahajis do.
That's what's going on for so many.
Initiate everyone. One guy, he'll initiate a dog, or he'll initiate a cat. He'll initiate everyone. What's the use? I mean, you're taking upon their karma. And just what do you get? What do you get? What do you get get from having a disciple who's not surrendered? What do you get from having a disciple who can't even remember your name, what to speak with the instructions you gave them? What's the use?
This is 7th canto, 13th chapter, text 8. A sannyasi must not present allurements of material benefits to gather many disciples, nor should he unnecessarily read so many books or give discourses as a means of livelihood. He must never attempt to increase material opulence unnecessarily. It's like, yeah.
But the society is literally society, and unfortunately it's creeped into the society started by Srila Prabhupada. This goes on like, nowadays most gurus are like life coaches, they have like a cool picture of themselves with like a faraway look in their eyes and like a dreamy smile, and like they have some stupid quote like, empower means to power the battery, or some crazy stuff. I mean, hey, what the heck? And there's some devotees, they have like this stupid calendar. Okay, it's called, I'm not even going to say what the name of it is, but it's just like some stupid, like cheesy, like sayings, like some people see one site and have many insights, but some people see a site that many sites but have no insight, or something stupid like inspired from this verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Like, read the Bhagavad Gita. What the heck is this guy talking about, dude? Like, it's like it just blew my mind. I'm like, bro, like, what? Are you smoking something? Like, what the hell is this? I'm really shocked.
You said that to me.
Because I couldn't figure it out. Like, bro, can you figure this out? Like, what's this guy talking about? But like that's what Prabhupada is speaking about there. Like, reading too many books. Over intellectualization. How you can be Krishna conscious while watching cricket or basketball? Like, dude, like you crossed the line. Somewhere something went wrong. But it just never stops. Anyway, I find it. I sometimes don't know whether to laugh or cry, so I laugh.
I found destiny may determine our facial complexion, but we determine our facial expression.
What the heck is it? And inspired by a verse from Bhagavad Gita.
9th chapter, text 6.
Yeah, what the heck? Like, what was that?
Text 6 is.
यथा आकाशः स्थितो नित्यं वायु सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि च बुधारय. I mean, where did you get facial expression and complexion from that whole verse? Like, bro, tell me seriously, where did that come from?
Understand that as the mighty wind blows everywhere, rest always in the sky. All created beings rest in me.
I mean, that's my point. I'm like, where did this come from? What? Yeah, you got to be creative to the degree that you don't even speak Siddhanta anymore. You just speak some nonsense, and you just said Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, like. Someone's going to now, soon there'll be Bhagavad Gita chapter 24, text number 5. Like, what's wrong with these people? Anyway, just
entire self is the heading of
it. See, I didn't say it. You said it. Okay, look. I didn't say it.
Is that what the book is called?
That's the name of the calendar, yeah.
Oh, well, anyways, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yep. Every day you have like something. And so many devotees have it. I'm like, why do you have this stupid calendar for? Anyway. So anyway, I was just thinking about that when you said that point.
Anything else? Yes, do you want
to? I had a good explanation what strong preaching is. Will I turn it on? Strong preaching. One Prabhu, Suvarna Bindu, told me, I think he was quoting Bhakti Vikash Maharaj. He said, strong preaching means strong arguments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's also backed up by Rupa Goswami. He says that Uttama Adhikari is one who can, he doesn't fall prey to false arguments, so his logical ability is very, very strong. You were saying that in the class also, Prabhu, about if you study the Bhagavatam correctly, soberly, under proper guidance, then you can smash all atheism and establish eternal transcendental knowledge. So that was really powerful, a little sutra for me to keep me going every day. Strong preaching means strong arguments.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Is there anything else from the man? Yes, Chandra.
Oh, that's fine. Prabhu, I really like the point you made about Shravanam is equal to Sadhu Sangha. They're the same thing. And we hear this in the 7th canto, the Bhagavatam, the processes Prahlad Maharaj describes. And then in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's the recommendation of Panchangam Bhakti, the 5 most powerful limbs of devotional service. So you see the comparison there. But and this verse that you spoke on today is also the verse that Srila Prabhupada spoke on the most.
Oh.
He lectured the most upon this 7.1.
So many lectures.
And I wanted to hear you explain maybe the importance of Shravanam is there, but how do you balance between Shravanam and contemplation? Because you could hear all day, but if you don't chant, you know what I mean? If you're like chanting all day and you don't do some service, or if you're doing Shravan but you're not,
Yeah.
How do you say, remembering, contemplation, like that?
It's a package because you have to apply what you hear. Prabhupada says like that jnana vijnana, actually the vijnana is even more important.
That's the next
Yeah,
verse. In this chapter.
It's the next verse? Oh yeah. Jnanam te hamsa vijnanam. I shall now declare unto you the full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. Thus being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So it's like, that's what Shravan and Kirtan, Vishnu Smaranam. It comes straight after those two things, Vishnu Smaranam, so to remember. So by hearing, natural contemplation comes back. Because it's not like you hear and you're just like, okay, next. It's like those things go in, they impact us. Certain things that it's not every word, like sometimes we can't remember everything, but like sometimes, when you read Prabhupada's books, I've had the experience, one line changed my whole life. It changed my whole life. Like I've read, a few times the Bhagavad Gita, and I've read that line so many times probably, but I read it once in a particular time and circumstances that I was in, and it's become like the center of my devotional service and my devotional life. So it's like it may not be that you hear the whole thing and I'm not able to remember the whole thing but it's like there's like the sadhu makes the impact upon the disciple or the devotees who are hearing. It's maybe just a few words, like Srila Prabhupada only had a few words from his spiritual master personally. Compared to the volumes of books that he's written, and personally, it's like there's a few, but those make great impacts, and you can see that in Srila Prabhupada's disciples' lives. Sometimes he just said few words to his disciples, and that word stuck with them for like their whole life till now, until the time of death. That just rings in your ear. So it doesn't particularly mean like, I have to just, I have to like gather everything that is being said. That is there we remember, but like. There's like the overall, sometimes like myself, I don't have good memory and just like tend to forget things really easily. But like overall, has our attitude changed in devotional service? Yes, it has. It has. My attitude has changed. My desire to serve more has changed. All of these things have come about. So then we take judgment on that level too. It's not just, it's achar, vichar and prachar. So the one's actions, one's contemplations, and one's preaching, they all go together. It's not just one thing. It's not just like contemplation by itself. That should be turned into action, and that action is the result of one actually hearing properly and contemplating properly. So it may not be we're not preachers sometimes, but we hear and we may not be able to like speak exactly what we've heard. But the transformation within the heart is taking place. That's the most important thing. So we hear and it's impacting us. We should see that our life overall is changing. That we're becoming more pure-hearted. We're not causing trouble to others. We're not quarreling with others. We're not feeling disturbed. These are the symptoms that have been described, and we should see that as we go in our devotional life. If that's not happening, then we should like see ourselves like, what am I doing wrong? Because the spiritual master is giving pure knowledge, we're hearing pure knowledge, what am I doing wrong? Like,
I mean, it's so true, that one Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had one person, his disciple, he was learning all these very complex Sanskrit things, from Bon Maharaj and all these people. And he went up to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and said, Prabhupada, I don't understand this. Can you please explain to me? He said, yeah, you see, there's a devotee called Ram something. And he said, you can go ask him. So then, like, the devotees went, he went and asked the devotees. He said, yeah, he's the gardener. I think he was illiterate. And then, he went up to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and said, Prabhupada, did you mean this person? Because this person is illiterate. Like, do you really want him to explain this whole Sanskrit thing to me? He said, yeah, that's who I want you to go. And then, he went to this person and he like, no, Prabhupada wants you to explain this to me. Explain this to me. And then he was like, how can you are like a very great scholar? I'm just like a person who's a gardener of the mud. How will I be able to explain to you? And like, this devotee like begged him, please explain this. And then like out of his, he said all out of his compassion, he said, all right, I'll explain to you. And then just by explaining to him the service that he does, like by growing the flowers and veggies and like fruits and offering them to Krishna, and like his whole consciousness and engagement behind what he's doing. He explains that in terms of the Sanskrit thing, and then it completely answers this person's doubt. And this disciple went like, he actually cleared my doubt, Prabhupada. He said, yes, that's because he's hearing from a proper sadhu. And when you hear from a bona fide spiritual master, again, this is a very simple thing to understand, that attachment to Guru means attachment to sadhu and attachment to Shastra. These things go hand in hand. There's a very important thing that, yes, you can hear, but if you're hearing and you're not getting attached to what's in Shastra and what the sadhus are asking you to do, and you're not getting attached to what the previous tradition of the devotee, the way they acted is, then you're not hearing properly. You're not hearing from the right person. One of the two. So that's it. It just goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then like, speaking of like one line which changed, you're like, one line that Srila Prabhupada wrote which revolutionized Western Bhagavatam distribution, at least for ourselves here in Krishna Life. Prabhupada, this is the last purport of the 24th chapter of the 4th canto. It says, if we persistently engage in devotional service, certainly all our desires will be fulfilled in due course of time. When I read that, I realized that that's the secret to distributing Bhagavatam to Americans. That's the secret. You have to be persistent and engage in that. And then like I read that in the tattoo convention, and I was trying. Abhi was going to beat me in the last 1 hour or something. He was able to distribute. I distributed 3 in the day, and I distributed 3 more in 1 hour. Just after reading that. So it's one line can just change.
The one line that I read, when it was like a turning point for me, it's like between either just leaving devotional service or being in devotional service, was that Prabhupada says the only reason the mind is always disturbed is because it doesn't have a proper goal. It's like it hit me, and I was like, oh, the goal is Krishna consciousness, not all these other things. And then it's like everything, like, just remember, like, I just could not have ever imagined that would be like the solution to my problem. Actually, like, if you are ever having trouble, anything, you just read Prabhupada's books. He like literally like speaks to you personally through his books. Yeah, I've had that experience like a few times in my life so far, where I'm just like having trouble, difficulties, and I pick up Prabhupada's books and I look at it right there. It's like crystal clear, okay. And you just, the level of faith you get in Krishna consciousness is like, every devotee that has been reading Prabhupada's book seriously and practicing devotional service, they've had that experience without a doubt. Without a doubt. You just sometimes remembering what you read, and it's like, wow. So there's like transcendental experiences within Krishna consciousness like that. So hearing properly, reading properly. You had something real quick? Yeah. You had something? Yeah. Thank you. Well, we haven't seen you here before.
Hare Krishna. Yes, my wife and I were new in town. Oh. We just arrived from Denver. I have a question regarding being a kshatriya. Like as you mentioned, it's not good to quarrel with people, and just if you do still quarrel, after reading holy books, you have to look at yourself and see what you're doing wrong. What if you're a kshatriya and you have to quarrel with people to discipline them, to put them in their place? How? And it's like when I say kshatriya, I come from like a family of law enforcement officers, lawyers, military people who always, put their duty in before everything else.
Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, okay.
So it's like it comes all the way from like Soviet Union, and then like, and now living in America, I'm not a like police officer or in any way in the military, but I'm still kind of, how to say that, I have this mentality. If people do something wrong and I feel it's wrong, that they're making a trouble, they're like troublemakers, even at work, I have to discipline them. Not in a violent way in any way, no. It's just like through, just basically making sure that they don't disturb everybody else's peace.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be seen. I mean, I don't know your situation is all that, but there's like one's duties and one's natures, one can engage in different places. But overall, in the association of devotees of what we're speaking, that doesn't go on. That's the important thing to be seen. Outside of that, certain situations come about, even it's mentioned in Shastra like that actually a devotee, he can exhibit unlimited amounts of anger if an other devotee is being harassed by someone else. That he just lets his wrath out completely. And one does not need to stop that at all. But if someone is hurting another devotee, he can just let everything out, no problem. So, but amongst the devotees of the Lord, then such situation shouldn't be that he's angry and all of this. If one is in devotee association and he's constantly angry here and there and has so much difficulty and can't deal with devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, then we should look at ourselves and go, okay, what's the problem? So, but whatever, you may have different duties. That's, I don't know, time, place, and circumstance. But in general, within devotional service, it should be seen that one is not, having those tendencies. They go away, or they've gone away after some time. Okay.
Thank you all.
Is there anything from the women? Just real quick. I'm sorry, I'm going on. Any questions? No? Okay, all right. Srimad Bhagavatam.